Hare Krishna, Om Agnanathimidandasya Gnananjanashalakaya Chakshurumlitamena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutare Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatharine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we're reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita. This is a series of verses on the Bhagavad Gita. So we are starting with chapter 2, verse 2. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Kutastva Kashmalamidam Vishame Samupastitam Anaryajustam Asvargyam Akirtim Karamarjuna. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, said, my dear Arjuna, Kutastva Kashmalamidam. Kuta means where from? Kashmalam, these impurities. Vishame samupastitam. Vishame, in this hour of crisis. Samupastitam, they have arrived. How have these impurities come upon you? Anarya justam asvargyam. Anarya, those who are not Aryans. It is befitting those who are not Aryans. And they lead not to higher planets but to infamy. Akirti karam Arjuna. Asvargyam akirti karam. Asvargyam is higher planets. Akirtikaram is infamy. Supreme Personality of Godhead said, my dear Arjuna, how have these impurities come upon you? They are not at all befitting a man who knows the value of life. They lead not to higher planets but to infamy. So the first thing we have to understand in this verse is who is speaking. Shri Bhagavan Vacha. So Bhagavatam says, Vadanti tat tattvavidas tattvam yajnanamadvayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti shabdyate. So what we call absolute truth, supreme truth, can be understood in three phases. Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavan. Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So Brahman is the impersonal, all-pervasive spirit that is coming from the body of the Lord. Paramatma is the localized aspect present within the heart of all living entities, and Bhagavan is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, who resides eternally in his own abode, Goloka Vrindavana. So these three aspects of understanding the absolute truth can be compared to understanding the sun. So those who understand Brahman can be compared to individuals who understand the sunshine aspect of the sun. Those who understand Paramatma can be compared to those who understand the sun's surface. And those who can understand Bhagavan are compared to those who can understand the sun planet. So there are three different levels of understanding. Though all these students are engaged in the study of the same subject matter, they are not in the same category because each of them is progressively more closer to the total truth. Bhagavan is the last word in a realization of absolute truth, while Brahman is the first stage. So this is progressive understanding of the Supreme Lord in his different aspects, because all of them are coming from the Supreme Lord Krishna. So the word Bhagavan is defined by Parashara Muni, who is the father of Vyasadeva, as Aishwaryasya Samagrasya Viryasya Yashasha Shriyah Gnana Vairagya Yoshchaiva Shannam Bhagavatingana. He says Aishwaryasya, all riches, Viryasya, all strength, Yashaha, all fame, Shriyaha, all beauty, Gnana, all knowledge, and Vairagya, all renunciation. One who possesses all riches, all strength, all fame, all beauty, all knowledge, and all renunciation at the same time is called Bhagavan. Right? So there might be some persons who are very rich, very powerful, very beautiful, etc. But they can't claim to have all the riches, all the strength. That is the first point. Second point, they can't claim to have all of them to the maximum. Right? Somebody who has all wealth cannot also be all renounced. So this is the greatness of the Supreme Lord Krishna. That is why he is called Bhagavan. There might be many controllers, but there is one supreme controller. So Brahma, who is the secondary creator of this material universe, in his Brahma Samhita, which are the verses he's glorified the Lord with after he realized the Lord. Right. So in his Brahma Samhita, he describes Ishvara Parama Krishna. Ishvara Parama. So there are many Ishvaras, but the Parama Ishvara is Krishna. And he has a Satchidananda Vigraha. He has a Sat Chit Ananda Deha, body. Sat is so basically which is eternal. Chit is full of knowledge, and Ananda is full of bliss. Right, and Anadi, he's there from the beginning, from a very long time. He's Adi, he's the first person, and he's called Govinda. And he is Sarva Karana Karanam, he is the cause of all causes. Right, also in Bhagavatam we see a similar verse, Ete Chamsa Kalapumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Hridayanti Yuge Yuge. So there are the incarnations that come out of the Lord are innumerable, like the rivulets that come from out of a river, but all of them are either Amsha or Kala. Amsha means plenary expansions, which is actually technically we call it Swa Amsha, which is plenary expansion, or Kala, which is part of the plenary expansion, right? But they're all Amsha or Kala of whom? Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Of Krishna, who is but the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. So clearly the speaker is Krishna, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan. So which is why Srila Prabhupada doesn't use the word God, because God doesn't have a very clear understanding in terms of his position, but it's very clear that Krishna is the supreme above everybody else. So he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the Bhagavan, right? And he is the sum total of all. He is the absolute truth and the sum total of everything, both material and spiritual. And he is the source of both the super soul and the impersonal Brahman. So Bhagavan Krishna, who is there with Arjuna, right? Because Arjuna is his very dear friend. He is asking this question: Kutastva kashmalam idam. So where have these impurities come? So what are these impurities that Krishna is talking about? Arjuna, we all know that the battle was about to begin, and Arjuna asks Krishna to take the chariot between the two armies because he wanted to see who was there, who had assembled there to fight. And when he looks at all his relatives, friends, teachers, etc., he gets overwhelmed and he says, I don't want to fight. And then he gives 6 reasons as to why he should not be fighting. The first reason being compassion, right? Why should I kill my own kinsmen, right? Then second one is misfortune. It is not going to bring me any fortune. We do things so that we can become fortunate, but this is going to be a cause of misfortune. Third reason, enjoyment. Everybody in this material world do things just for their own enjoyment. It doesn't matter whether it is right or wrong. It doesn't matter whether it is convenient, inconvenient to others. No other considerations except for simple enjoyment. So Arjuna also is saying that what is the point in me winning this kingdom if I cannot enjoy it with my family later, because nobody will be alive, because everybody will be dead. And then the fourth reason he says is sinful reactions. So he was so concerned, Arjuna was so concerned about right and wrong. And this is how the Vedic culture was. People were very, very afraid of doing wrong things, sinful things. So he's worried, saying that, this killing is not approved by Shastra. Of course, he says that they are aggressors and aggressors are supposed to be killed, but he still, because these aggressors were his relatives, etc., he felt that they should not be killed, and such killing is going to result in sinful reactions. And finally, he says, when all these elders are killed in the battle, and then the whole family tradition will be destroyed. So because the elders are responsible for upholding family tradition, now with the destruction of the dynasty, all the family tradition will be destroyed. And then the rest of the family will become involved in irreligion. And when irreligion becomes prominent in the family, the women become polluted. And they will become degraded because of irresponsible men in the society, and then this will result in unwanted progeny called Varna Sankara. And if unwanted progeny increases, then that causes hellish life, both for the family and for those who destroy the family tradition. And the ancestors of such corrupt families fall down because Shraddha Kriya, or the process of offering food and water, will be entirely stopped. And this we are seeing in Kali Yuga already, right? And by evil deeds of those who destroy family tradition, all Jati Dharma and Kula Dharma, everything will be destroyed, right? So he thinks that this is not a good idea to actually fight. And finally, in the second chapter, post this verse, he also says that, I don't know, I'm indecisive whether I should fight or not fight. So Krishna at this point of time is saying, wow, how have all these impurities come? They don't fit Aryan. Aryan is one who knows the value of life, which means that he knows who he is, where he has come from, what is the goal of life, what should be done. He knows everything. And for an Aryan, doing his duties is most important, because that is the foundational principle of Varnashrama Dharma, on which society is actually structured on Varnashrama Dharma. People are classified into different Varnas and Ashramas, Brahmacharya, Grasta, Vanaprastha, Sannyasa, and Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, and their prime focus was doing their prescribed duty, which we will discuss further in Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna is saying that this doesn't it doesn't seem well for an Aryan who knows the value of life, because that their whole civilization is based on Varnashrama, and such people don't just give up their duty whimsically just like that, based on all these grounds of compassion, misfortune, etc. And he says, okay, how come that these impurities have come upon you at this point of crisis, at this last hour, just before the battle is going to start? And he says, okay, this is not going to, this is not for Aryans. And Anaryans, who are Anaryans? Anaryans are those who are led by the material conception of life. They don't know that the aim of life is realization of Vishnu, Krishna. They are just captivated by all the external features of this material world, and they don't know about liberation, etc. So Arjuna somewhat seemed like he was acting like a non-Aryan, right? But he was an Aryan belonging to a Kshatriya clan, and he couldn't be declining to fight. So Krishna is surprised. How have these impurities come upon you? And such deviation from duty does not help one to progress in spiritual life, right? Nor does it make one famous in this world. So overall, Lord did not approve of the compassion of Arjuna for his kinsmen. And then he continues to chastise Arjuna in the next few verses, which we will hear in the next podcast. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.